Hey there, I wanted to pop in and let everybody know that I am doing just fine. I picked up this beautiful little today and I matched, right? and so I really just wanted to respond to all the love and messages and mixture of just comments and private messages from so many people, just by showing the vulnerability of showing myself weeping, crying, and grieving as a mother who is trained in attachment development and, a third of the way done with mental health counseling, specifically in mindfulness and spiritual basis. What I have seen is that we've become so not just uncomfortable, but actually judging and deemed as if it's unhealthy human emotions. We have deemed human emotions as somehow being unhealthy. So this kind of old viewpoint of suppressing and controlling by suppression, not by regulation, controlling by suppression and never showing them, is somehow emotional maturity. And us in mental health who've been studying this for a long time know that that's actually the opposite. That's unhealthy. That's repression, and that's what makes us sick inside of our bodies. And it intensifies, and it's even more to process later. So the people that were judgmental and said you need to control yourself, and I wouldn't give you your kids back if you were acting like that either. Okay, a lot of abusive type responses. Then other women fearful, oh, the courts are going to think you're crazy, you're never going to get your kids back. My point as a professional, as a mother, as a mental health lived experience and studied in multiple layers and child development and teaching, I want to change that. I want to disrupt that completely, because they are the ones that need to change. They are the ones that need to stop teaching that emotions are unhealthy and we have to silence and suppress them. We need to feel free to show emotions. That's why we teach children the range of emotions and how to express them. So I was doing this with my children, and they were I would co-regulate with them. And as you can see, one of my skills is that I can have these intense emotions from the severe abuse and terrorism and sadistic torture I'm going through, which people aren't used to seeing because they are not aware it's happening. They saw it 100 years ago when women would be dragged from houses and burned at the stake. They saw women weeping during war times where their family would be brutally slaughtered in front of them. We heard the cries of people weeping, screaming, pleading, grieving. We just don't realize that's happening today in family courts because of what they're doing. But what they're doing is we aren't allowed to, because they developed the mental health industry of behavioral health where they will arrest you. So back when these atrocities were happening in families and with the government and people, pre-1900s, we didn't have the mental health field, so we didn't have people rushing in to put you in a mental health ward. They developed those and started doing that to mothers in the early 1900s. We fought back, but now they're back again. They're doing to the kids, to people, to everyone. They developed a whole smorgasbord of drugs to put people on, and M1 holds and all these psych things, and it's a control system. And the reality is, we're supposed to feel a range of emotions. We're not supposed to feel grieving and sadistic torture and terrorism. The level of emotion I feel is because there are crimes being committed, crimes against humanity. But we are supposed to be able to grieve and cry. People, funerals, things like this. okay? And when children are being abused, there's very specific symptoms, and they are not supposed to suppress them. That we're not supposed to call them autism or ADHD. We're supposed to call them what they are: trauma, symptoms of child sexual assault. And we're supposed to investigate that and understand that that's what it is. We understood in the 80s, there was tons of books that came out about it, and then they went to trauma-informed care and all about trauma because they didn't want us, the abusers in control, who make the most money and control the systems, didn't want us breaking the cycle of violence, identifying the root cause, which would be the abuser, the pedophile, the violence, domestic violence, the oppressor. Okay, so because their whole world would crash, which is what is happening now. So I want to let you know that it's okay. I'm okay. I can release those emotions and come back to regulation very quickly. That's a skill I developed out of decades, over a decade and a half of very intentional mindfulness training and meditation and prayer and body awareness, self-awareness, tons of different skills and tools that I developed and shared and taught my children. And that's exactly the people the system is taking children from, are the safe parent who can regulate, and their goal is to dysregulate you and blame you for that. But they're the ones dysregulating an extremely regulated person. By doing what? By terrorizing you and putting your children with the abuser. Most of the women who have reached out to me, who have experienced this, we're not just dealing with a narcissist or a, conflict. I would say 99% of the women who have reached out privately to me or commented are saying, I left not just an abuser, not just a coercive controller, somebody who was drugging me, drugging my children. Pornography is almost always involved. Sexual assault and incest are almost always involved. Medical and financial fraud, so multiple felony crimes are involved in the worst cases of where this estrangement, forced estrangement and alienation, where they are forcing a parent to appear abandoned by shoving them out of the life by any means possible, framing, falsifying, financially destroying, extorting, gang stalking their careers and workplaces, and for the criminal. So that's the problem. So I've been hearing women say too, they don't understand the calm person is perceived as the healthy person. The crying and frantic person is perceived as the sick person. And my response to that is, and they're not wrong, that's the way it's been, but that's because abusers were calling the descriptions before. Everyone in mental health, especially the people who specialize in the dark triad of psychopaths and forensic psychiatrists who work in prisons, and in those who don't go to prison for psychopathy because they didn't check the box of the physical abuse model, but they're doing all the other ones. You usually find those in the financial fraud prison areas, but the sexual abuse ones are hiding in family court, and those are the other pocket of sociopaths and psychopaths and sadists. And I want to change that understanding. There's one doctor I follow, Dr. Salerno. He explains it the best. He's like, the calm person is the psychopath. The calm person who has no trouble regulating their nervous system because their nervous system isn't wired for feeling empathy or fear or a conscience. That's the psychopath in the room. When we're dealing with family court, when we're dealing with really any sort of relational conditions where you have paired with a frantic, terrified person who's crying, grieving, and frantic, not calm and crying like some sort of poised cry, but really fearful. And fearful is not unstable. Fearful means we're in a crime scene and someone needs to stop the criminal. It's like being I make this comparison all the time. Like, if your children were being held by a terrorist in a third world country, would you tell them to focus on themselves and then the terrorists will let them free? Maybe in 10 years, who knows? Don't worry about the time, just worry about you. No, you would never do that, because you know they're being brutally tortured and, molested, assaulted, drugged, and maybe disappear forever. So no, you would never do that, and you would never tell someone that. Same with that, an auto accident. On the side of the road, you would never say, ma'am, when you control your emotions, we will get the kids out of that burning car. We'll pull the car out of the line of traffic. Once you control your emotions and show us you can control them. You would never say that. If someone's crying because their baby was just harmed in a house fire, you would never have a firefighter or officer say, when you stop screaming, we'll go get them. So somehow this domestic violence, it's a personal matter, it's a civil matter, like, spell has put people under the misconception that a loving parent's concern for children in harm's way, whether it's an auto accident, a burning house, a stranger in a third world country who is abducted and terrorizing them, or someone in the family who is harming them, burning them, assaulting them, terrorizing them, withholding them, is the same. The same responses come out of these people, the mothers and safe parents. They're crying, they're screaming, they're pleading for someone to help. I have a sense of urgency. Those are all very appropriate, especially in a biological family situation. And that's what is wrong with family court, is that they know this, and they know they're protecting criminals, and they know these are the symptoms, and they are gaslighting an entire community. Even the mental health industry is divided. The behavioral mental health people are still acting like law enforcement and gaslighting and torturing children, just like they did in the mental institutes in the early 1900s, when the other half, based on root cause, breaking the cycle, attachment and regulation, and identifying, I will say again, the root cause and removing you from the stimuli, which is the abuser, those are the mental health people that really understand wellness and mental health. Okay, they don't divert over to this individual, just focus on yourself. No, they focus on the family and attachment. Okay, they never suggest separation or acceptance of separation. Never. So I'm doing some traveling and meeting up with some people that I've connected with online, and so that we can, I'm here to build something beautiful and new, because the old world is crashing. I've always known that about myself. One of the examples, I toured a school today, and it feels so natural. People feel at ease with me. It's natural to me to speak about children and education. We talked about how Maria Montessori was actually Catholic, and then just talked about the difference between charter and public schools and what's happening in Colorado and how they're addressing that. And my knowledge, experience, and ease and love and passion for children it permeates every part of my life. And that's the problem when they went after my kids. It didn't just, my life isn't compartmentalized. My career, my home life, my friends, it's all children. So because education and supporting mothers and children and child development and health and wellness has been my whole life, it's my whole resume, it's my whole extracurriculars, it's my whole friendship base, it's my whole career base, it's my whole spiritual base. It's all woven together. I don't live a compartmentalized life. A lot of people live a life where they go to work and it contradicts their values and ethics. Mine doesn't. Mine is all integrated. So that when they pull at the thread, the first thing is they want to know, well, do you have kids? Where are your kids? And then it's this whole shutdown of friendly conversations, small talk, education talk, career talk, wellness talk, why am I in Colorado talk, everything that is just normal small talk immediately falls like a stack of dominoes because of what they've done by taking the girls. So when people are like, well, couldn't you do this for a living or that for a living? It's like, yeah, I could, but I can't get hired for those jobs without creating a false story about who I am. Because if I tell them I don't have my kids, they're being held hostage by a court system that's giving custody for abusers, they don't know that. The general public doesn't know that. I didn't know that as a teacher, so why would they know that? And so then teaching them this whole thing and going through all their stereotypes, stigmas, and layers of blocks of consciousness and programming and propaganda, there's no way. So they've taken away my ability to be my actual true self in many ways. And that's the annihilation that these people, these two degenerates that call themselves parents went after when they did this to me. So, but I will find a different way. So since the times of my memoir and just my type of who I am in life, I have just calmly told the truth. And that's what I will continue to do, is calmly tell the truth, calmly tell people the truth about what's happening, what it feels like, so that the awareness will continue to expand. And I'm going to continue to create something. It put me on a delay for a few years because of all of this, but I have learned how much more necessary and in what ways we need to expand what I'm creating to really facilitate the kids and families to not just opt out of public school, but create a complete sanctuary and different systems while ours crash. And this has taught me things, how to do that, because now I'm more aware of how dark it was. I myself wasn't aware that it was this dark right here for people that look like me and you. I thought it was out there, in the dark corners and the alleys and third world countries and the bad neighborhoods. No, it's right here. And so that's the deception. And I want to I had a shaman tell me one time when I was doing the plant medicine in 2019, he said, you're calling in all this light. You want to be enlightened. You want to be aware of everything beautiful, but understand. And I think a priest would tell you similar, understand. You are also going to become aware of equal amounts of darkness, and you will see it, and it will come closer to you. And it will be up to you to navigate the more definitive good and evil and learn how to navigate that. Okay, so I don't have time to respond individually to every single person while I'm driving. I've tried to at least heart messages or say thank you. If I haven't, I want to give my most heartfelt thank you to you right now. It means so much to have everybody reach out and to hear all of you share your stories. I hope that by me sharing mine, that has brought you some sort of release that the rest of the world did not allow you to have, either now or while you were going through it. It means the world to me and to my daughters. I believe that they feel this ripple effect. I have always told them the truth is in your heart. You don't even need me to tell you what's real and what's not real. You know in your heart. I've laid the foundation enough. And I believe that through the ripple waves, our intuition connects. We're connected at the core. So just have a beautiful day. Know that this is out there too. Get out in nature and just really be grateful.